With the Edge of Fate right around the corner, let's take a look back at the good and bad of episode Heresy. It had a pretty good seasonal story. I like that we started off with Eris Morn dying and we got to work with orcs for a brief moment, and the ending was alright with us destroying the Echo and hearing Savathun's response. The best part is that we didn't need to wait too long for acts 2 and 3 to come out, so the story didn't feel like it dragged on. Nether Dove was a very good game mode. I spent most of my time in this activity. I love the roguelike aspect of the mode, although there could have been a wider variety of buffs. It was able to be completed relatively quickly as well, and it had a ton of loot you could find throughout the Dreadnought. This version of the Dreadnought with all the secrets and loot everywhere is what I imagined the original Destiny 1 version of the Dreadnought would look like. However, the second game mode, Court of Blades, was pretty mid and I didn't play it all that much. It was essentially just kill the bosses as fast as you can, but most of the time you were bombarded with ads and you had an objective that didn't really matter since you could just shoot the boss and still damage them. I avoided this mode every time I logged into the game unless I needed to progress the story or unlock the exotic catalysts. Another downside to this season was the Shaping Slab having two different upgrade paths. XP could only be earned if you collected a pickup associated with the path that you were on. These would drop randomly when killing ads, but they barely rewarded any XP, and it made upgrading the Shaping Slab on both paths a pain that took forever. Borrowed Dyad is an A tier exotic strand SMG that needs its catalysts and upgrades to really make it busted. The process for unlocking the catalyst wasn't too mind-numbing, but I feel like there's only one catalyst that was actually worth grinding for. Luckily, it was one of the easier catalysts to get. Borrowed Dyad is fun to use and will pair well with most of your builds. The Rite of the Nine event was cool, but it didn't have the same impact that the Into the Light event had back before the final shape came out, so it kind of fell flat. Heavy Metal, on the other hand, the limited time mode where Briggs went up against tanks, was a lot of fun to play with while it was around. It didn't overstay its welcome, and it had a really interesting Sparrow that you could unlock as a reward for completing a couple of challenges. And finally, the loot that was added was pretty mid. There were good weapons, but there's not a lot of them that will stand the test of time. And on top of that, when weapon tiers enter the game, most players will forget about their old loot and start chasing tier 5 god rolls. Episode Heresy was a solid season with some downside, but overall it was pretty good, and I'm gonna give it a 7.7 out of 10. It definitely was the best season by far this year.